So welcome to the Buff Show. Today we have Don Hickman with us. He's running for city council with Ogden Valley. So he's got his button on. He is ready to go. So we're excited to have him on. Why don't you start telling us a little bit about yourself, your relationship with the Valley, and your background there?
Yeah, thanks, Baden. Thanks, Wendy. And thanks for your company for sponsoring this. I really, when I saw your email, I was really excited. So I'm from the West. I am not from Ogden Valley. Let's just clear that up right away. Stacy and I and our family moved there in 2012, so we've lived there for 13 years. Stacy and I and my family did 25 years active duty in the Air Force. Stacy and I are high school sweethearts, so we got to know each other at Mariposa County High School in Northern California in the Sierra Nevadas, where Yosemite National Park is. The county that I grew up in still to this day only has one stoplight. And that stoplight is because of a landslide that happened and took out a road. So it's not even in the town. I had an hour and a half bus ride each way to high school. So I'm empathetic with the Valley kids going down to Weber, right?
Yeah, you know how it feels.
I know how it feels. And so, I mean, literally, we grew up in a valley just like this. I remember, you don't do this anymore, but all the guys had our deer rifles in the back of our pickup trucks during deer season. You can't do that anymore because you can't leave a gun in a car anymore. Right? So after 25 years of the Air Force, traveling all over, seeing the world, it came time to retire from Hill Air Force Base. And we were going to retire to Alaska and build a log cabin. And my wife goes, I ain't moving to Alaska. Too dark, too cold. And I said, where do you want to live? Utah. And I said, okay, the only place I'll live is Ogden Valley. So we started looking. We looked at 27 different properties, and we ended up buying the one we did over there by the former monastery.
That's amazing.
We did it because it truly brought us back to when she and I started dating in 1983, this valley, this rural character, this way of life that we wanted to raise our family in. Mm-hmm. And so we were blessed. We found this great little property that had Huntsville Water Company irrigation company shares and a log cabin. I got my log cabin. By the way, I will never buy a log cabin again. They're a nightmare to upkeep. You guys probably sell a few through Mountain Buff.
It's funny because I wrote an offer on one earlier this week, and it was like the chinking, the exterior. My parents owned a log cabin. And there's some maintenance to them for sure.
I didn't even know what chink was. And I said, I can do this. And Stacy's like, no, Hickman. Yeah. I want it done right.
Yeah.
And so I've got a Rolodex now of great, small businessmen, general contractors who do stuff for me.
That's awesome. Yes. So what do you like to do in your off time? What are your hobbies?
Oh my gosh. So another reason not to live in Alaska is because there's 4 seasons where we live, and there's 2 in Alaska, right? Yeah. Winter and sort of summer.
Yeah.
So there's 4 great seasons that we get to enjoy. Yeah. So we'll just start with where we are right now. This time of year, I love to ride my horses. In fact, we were over in Middle Fork 2 days ago. I fly fish on South Ogden, mountain bike, hike, backpack. I just got back from the Wind River Range from a backpack trip. We'll morph into fall here real soon. Yeah. I'll still ride the horses. I'll go bird hunting. Hopefully, this little campaign thing's sort of messing with the off time. Yeah. I realize none of you citizens should be sympathetic, but It is sort of messing with the off time. I'm a skier. I teach cross-country skiing at North Fork Park at Ogden Nordic. I am the chair of Ogden Valley Adaptive Sports, which you've probably heard of. It's one of our nonprofits.
Yeah.
And so I teach adaptive skiing in the winter. So both people on sit skis and what have you, and adaptive cross-country skiing up at North Fork Park. So you'll see me on the slopes. Yeah. If I win, you'll see me less on the slopes. But I guess I hope that's going to happen. Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm joking there. Okay, and then we morph into spring. Spring, of course, I start putting the skis away. The mountain bike comes back out. The horses get ridden again, and so there you go. I if it's outdoors, I do it. I grow a garden. Yeah.
How many horses do you have?
2 right now.
Cool.
2 right now. We just acquired another quarter horse, and my kid wants to get goats, but I'm not getting goats. So, no.
We've been getting into the horse scene. We have 2 horses, a mini donkey, and 2 goats.
A mini donkey?
And a longhorn cow and a calf. And it's a little bit excessive.
That is, it's a good idea until you realize what you bought into.
Yeah, and then you realize how much work they are. I'm like, I thought 4 kids was a lot.
Right.
But, well, what made you decide to campaign?
I tell you what, and I'm being absolutely honest with you and anybody who's listening to this. In April, I wasn't even thinking about doing this. I was closing up a gig, being the executive director for a little bit for the adaptive sports program. I'd finally hired a guy to take over, so all I had to be was being on the board. And Stacy and I were sitting there going, we're not sure this isn't going to be a hot mess, because people weren't talking about the fundamental thing that the voters had decided to do, which is get rid of the county and create a city. And that means that somebody has got to create a city and create all the functional parts of a city, all the rules, all the ordinances, has to hire snowplows, has to hire law enforcement, all that stuff. And it wasn't being talked about. Sure, it had been mentioned in the campaign to whether or not to vote for, but it wasn't being talked about. So I did 25 years in the Air Force. I retired as a colonel. I've run a lot of things. I was a civil environmental engineer by trade, so that sort of stuff I know how to do. So we decided I was going to run.
That's impressive.
And so, there's that. And, I had 25 years of service to the country. And after I retired, I went into private business, created my own business as well. But I've been volunteering with nonprofits for the last 13 years. Ogden Valley Adaptive, Ogden Nature Center, Ogden Nordic. So I serve. And this, to me, was just not just another opportunity to serve, but an opportunity to serve, and literally once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create a city. I mean, who's going to get to create a city in their lifetime? So there you go.
It doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. Well, we've covered hobbies. That's awesome that you like to ride horses and everything. And you obviously take advantage of the many amazing trails and parks that we have for those things. When you look to where our city is going to be established, what gets you excited about starting it from the ground up?
That's what we have is a chance to create our future. The part of the animating issues for incorporation was development. Mm-hmm. And yes, development happened. It's going to happen. Can we do some things to change the trajectory of development into a way that keeps a vision of the valley that we all love? And what I'm excited about is it's not too late. We have the opportunity to put in place a government with the citizens' support and maybe change some ordinances and maybe do some wiser development and have this place in 10 years look sort of like it looks right now, because it's not too late. We've all been to Heber City.
Yep.
Heber City 30 years ago does not look like Heber City today.
No.
So we have the chance, and that excites me. And frankly, I've met a whole bunch of people over the last 2.5 months that I didn't know. So it's fun and exciting to meet all these really amazing people in Ogden Valley and get to work with them.
No, that's amazing.
Awesome.
It's impressive that, it seems like you're most excited about the idea of, well, one, you saw everybody talking about we're creating a new city and everything like that. And a lot of the fundamentals were being overlooked. And you're like, no, this is actually going to be super hard and complicated. And it seems like that excites you a little bit.
It does. So one of your questions, I don't know if you guys are reading from the question list or not, but, tell them something about me that they may not know.
Yeah.
I seek out and do hard things.
Yeah.
I climb mountains. I've been to 18,500 feet. I guide blind ski racers.
Yeah.
Talk about a absolutely terrifying thing to do.
Yeah.
Getting married was terrifying. Having kids was terrifying. Guiding blind ski racers is terrifying.
Starting a city from
scratch.
Just add it to the resume.
And I'm not doing this to add to, thank you, Peyton, but I'm not. I'm not doing this to add to my resume. I'm not a professional politician. I barely know how to be a politician. But what excites me is there's a unique opportunity that only exists in the first 2 years, and really only the first year, to set the foundation of what this city will be.
Yeah.
The whole city structure, how we're going to contract for essential services, snow plowing, law enforcement, soup to nuts, how we're going to do planning, which is, of course, where most of this yelling and screaming happened.
Right.
Yes, I said that on a podcast, but it's going on. We all know that,
sure.
right?
It's happening.
Yeah.
So I do hard things.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
I've been fairly successful in my life doing hard things.
Well, and I think we need somebody that is okay with hard things and excited about hard things. So that's cool.
There you go.
So the general plan. What
I've
are your
heard of it.
What are your thoughts on the general plan? Where like how it is today? I know a lot of people put a lot of time and effort and energy into that. What's your thoughts on the planning of the valley based on the general plan? Do you feel like it needs a lot of modifications? Is it pretty good how it is? Add to, take away? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't know if you guys lived out there when the current version was created, but
Yeah.
most of us participated in some way. It need by law we have to create a new one because the one that exists includes the canyon and Powder Mountain, all that. So
Right.
regardless, we got to do something different or something new. It doesn't have to be different. In general, I think it's a pretty good general plan.
Yeah.
I mean, the way it describes the character of the valley that was envisioned about 10 years ago with these village nodes of business activity with more rural rating, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's worked in general. An attempt to protect the hill space, I forget the technical term in there, all makes sense.
Yeah.
It plus the ordinances that allow for and facilitate transferable development rights. Try to say that 5 times. We're going to have to look hard at that.
Yeah.
And the 12 of us, my peers, we're all talking about that because, and this is a point that several of my peers have made, and I made in a recent Facebook post, is it's about the law at the end of the day. And I have a Facebook post that it's titled, Sir, Because It's the Law. And when I was in the Pentagon the second time, I worked for one of President Bush's political appointees, an assistant secretary, and he wanted to do something. And the office we were in was the real estate agent or the property owner of all the millions of acres of Air Force property.
Really?
And I said, sir, you can't do that. And he goes, why not? I'm the assistant secretary. I can do what I want. I said, sir, because it's the blankety blank law.
Yeah.
Right? And the point of that is the new city council will eventually write ordinances, send them out for public comment, debate them, and vote on them. And those will become the law.
Right.
And until and unless we change those laws to reflect what we want, it doesn't matter what we have in the general plan. The ordinances will be what prescribes development or not development. So we've got to do that right. So TDRs exist in the general plan, TDRs exist in the ordinances, and we, the final 6, with input from the citizens, are going to have to figure out what we want. If it was easy, it would have already been done.
Oh, for sure.
And this goes to my theme. I didn't hear anybody talking about snow plowing in January, and there's some conversation about, well, development is where it is, but the real conversation has to be, what are we going to write in our ordinances that create the city that we want? And I've got lots of experience writing legislation. When I was in the Pentagon the second time working for that assistant secretary, we would draft federal law, federal stuff, and give it to the White House. And so I've done all that. I've written policies for 680,000 employee corporation called the Air Force worldwide. So I've done all that.
Yeah.
I've got experience.
Where do you stand on development?
Oh, throw me a hard question.
I'm
It's a main question.
Look, none of, and I'll challenge you guys on this. None of the 12 of us significantly differ on development.
Yeah.
Right. We all say something like manage development responsibly, and that's what's on my campaign website.
Okay.
Here's the facts. There's well over 1,000 approved by the county platted residential things that are going to go in after the city becomes a city because they're grandfathered.
Right.
To include hotels and Eden and what have you.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Right.
The best we can do is understand what we want in our plan, and a plan is just a plan. The law is the law. We must write the ordinances right to affect what we say in the plan.
Yeah.
And then attempt our best to create this future that we want. This might be controversial, what I'm about to say. I don't think it will be. I have asked almost every citizen that I've talked to over the last 2.5 months, how would you encourage the large landowners to not sell their large land holdings to a developer or an investor? Let's take somebody who's got 100 acres. What's an acre going for right now?
Yeah, put me on the spot.
Well, just give me, a good one in the valley, on the valley floor. What's it going for?
It depends on the zoning and everything like that. But
give me an average.
Let's
say 300.
We just sold one for 300.
Right.
Yeah.
So 100 times 300 is what? 30 freaking $million.
Yeah.
How are you going to look a farmer in the eyeball and say, no?
Right.
I'm not. I'm a property rights guy. Constitution is the law of the land. So how do we create an environment that gives them an option? And the only one that I can come up with are the conservation easements or the agricultural easements, similar to what Bill White did with the former monastery and others have done with some of their properties. Well, how do you do that? You guys are in the real estate business. What's the most important thing? The almighty dollar, right? Somebody has got to have the dollars to do this. So I've asked the citizens, would you be in favor of something like a ramp tax? Everybody knows recreation, arts, music, and whatever the P is. We all pay it as part of our Weber County.
Yeah.
What if we did that and could develop a pool of monies that the city, through whatever legal mechanism, through nonprofits or whatever, could be seed money for agricultural conservation easements to give these large landowners an option?
Yeah.
I see, unless some billionaire or two hands out money,
Right.
it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Because $30 million speaks, right?
Oh, for sure. Well, and it's hard if you put yourself, like everybody says, I'd never do that. But then you get put in those shoes of that person that has the land that they could sell. And it's like most people are going to sell it to the highest bidder, right?
Peyton, everybody's got a price.
Right.
And I have talked to some very well-known large landowners, and they've been very clear with me. Like, Don, in the back of my mind is I have 30-plus grandchildren, and I'm going to have 90-plus great-grandchildren someday, and a trust fund of $30 to $100 million goes a long way to take care of my family.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's hard to just...
You can't discount that.
No, you can't.
Oh, by the way, it's the way America works.
Yeah. And whoever buys it, then they have the right to do what they want with it and run with it how they please in line with whatever is prescribed by the city, which is where you guys step in.
Right.
So
Right. Thus my theme. If we don't want something to happen, we, the eventual six, need to write the ordinances in a way that creates the future. If we just copy paste what Weber County has right now, we're going to have what Weber County has right now.
Yeah.
Over to you. Sorry, I jumped in.
No.
And it seems like that's kind of been guidelines, less of like laws that they follow. It's been something that bends and molds to. It's been changing.
Well,
so,
I'm not going to comment on that. What I would invite the two of you as citizens of Ogden Valley and all the Ogden Valley City citizens is hold us accountable.
Yeah.
Hold the mayor accountable and hold the 5 city council people accountable.
For sure.
There will be some flexibility in interpretation, but if we work hard and get it done right in the first place, we'll have less risk of failure.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Whitney, what do you got?
Well, you've mentioned plowing and you've mentioned law enforcement earlier, and just I think that's going to be a big concern. We literally become a city in January. We're in the middle of our winter season. How is that going to translate when we get to that point?
So, as I mentioned early on, key to my reason for running and key to my platform is the first 6 months to a year are going to be hard work. I believe it's going to be 20 or 30 hours a week for quite a while for the city council as we make all these decisions. We're going to have to make fundamental decisions on contracting road maintenance, contracting snow plowing, contracting law enforcement, contracting waste management, contracting engineering, permitting, planning, attorneys, recorders. The list goes on and on and on. And fortunately, the transition team, the great set of volunteers, has been doing a whole bunch of little background looking. So we've got some stuff. But beginning on or about 18 November, after the canvassing, which is when the county officially approves the vote, then those elected members can begin entering into contracts. So hopefully, for the citizens of Ogden Valley, the 12 of us can work together and set aside our natural tendencies to, hey, I'm not going to help somebody else because I want to get elected, so we can work together and get this done. I put a post out there 2 or 3 days ago where I quoted General George Marshall. I'm a graduate of the Air Force Academy. And so when you go to the Air Force Academy, you have to learn, you get this book and you have to learn the whole thing and recite it to the upperclassmen. And Marshall said, paraphrasing, there's no end to the goal you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. So I am absolutely committed, no matter what, whether or not I win or lose, that I'm going to do everything I can between now and then to have sets of potential contracts ready for road maintenance, for law enforcement, for the soup to nuts.
Yeah.
If we fail, you guys ought to be really angry with us, because if roads aren't plowed because there's no contract on the 5th of January, that was a failure of 12 people who couldn't work together. Is it going to be easy? No. I have the experience, the contracting experience. I've literally managed contracts from hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, up to tens of millions of dollars. I've operated budgets from $5,000 a year, literally up to $10 billion a year. One of the reasons I'm running is because I know how to do all this stuff. I'm not saying I'm the best thing since sliced bread, because I got plenty of warts on me. But in this particular case, in this particular time, which is the first 2 years, I believe that I bring the skill sets to the Valley so that we can make sure we start off on the right foot.
Yeah. So what do you think needs attention right away, and what would the first 100 days look like, do you think?
Well, right away, we've got to have essential services in place. Yeah. So
all the contracts you're talking about.
We are the laughing stock of Utah if the first week of January we don't have these contracts in place. The risk that you citizens should be worried about is your preferred mayoral candidate and is your preferred council candidate capable of doing that?
Yeah.
With the skills, the experience, the knowledge, and the temperament. And I speak about this a lot in my Facebook posts, is what are we talking about temperament? The ability to work with other people. I've served on 5 boards of directors in the nonprofit world and 1 in the for-profit world. I know how to sit there and look Whitney in the eyeball, and we may not ever party together, but I know how to work across the aisle and get things done.
Yeah.
Stacy and I moved 14 times, lived in 7 different states in the country of Germany. I've worked with people of all walks of life, all religions, all races. I know how to work with people to get things done. Back to your question, we've got to have those essential services in place. And in the first 100 days, we've got to begin getting the ordinances sorted out. So early on, the city council will have a package of X ordinances, and those will mostly, we have to have ones that allow us to function as a city council, as a government, that literally say our operating instructions. And we'll have some that literally affect everybody who's living there right now. I mean, you want the ability to have a permitting office so you can go get a permit to build a shed.
Right.
So we've got to make sure those are all done early. And then we have to deal with the hard ones. The hard ones are the reason we have a city. Will those be done in the first 100 days? I don't have a magic ball.
So permitting office and all that, like, where's that going to be?
I don't
do you
know.
have any idea?
Where do you want it to be? Right?
Gotta find a building, a place to operate.
We didn't inherit a building.
Yeah.
Weber County is going to toss us the keys, but there's no building to unlock. There's no road shed, with a bunch of snowplows that we own. So we, the city council, are going to have
figure it all out.
Have to figure that all out.
Do they give you, and I don't know a lot about this, do you get any budget right out of the gate, to start operating with, or
what? Money?
Yeah.
Shocking, baby.
Right?
Shocking. And I'm being somewhat tongue in cheek. So,
like, how does that look in the beginning? Right.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah,
and so I'm not hesitating.
Yeah.
I'm trying to frame this so everybody can understand well the answer.
Yeah.
We are going to have to take short-term loans out to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
We do not get a set of money from the county or the state just for being a city.
Yeah.
And there are monies at the county that have accrued that the county has the option, but not the legal obligation, to give us at some point in the future. The property tax revenues, they don't come to anybody until the end of the year.
Yeah.
So because we will stand up in January, we're not going to see those until December of 26.
Which is crazy. I had not thought about. Had you thought about that?
No.
All of these little nuances, folks, were not discussed
It's a
as
good
part of the, hey,
Yeah.
why to incorporate or not. And don't take that as a bad mouth of those who wished incorporation, because I'm not saying that.
Right.
But what we bought was a new city,
Yeah, right.
which means everything. So
Yeah.
what do? The lieutenant governor's study, we call it the LG study or the LDR study, was necessary legally for the lieutenant governor to say the tax base, the revenue base is enough that they'll be able to survive on their own.
That's the feasibility.
The feasibility study.
Yeah.
And it, you can, there's 4 or 5 different pages that are important, but somewhere, they estimated somewhere around $4.5 to $5 million of revenue in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And expenses of somewhere around 4.5 to 4.7. And of course, people like me and the other 11 candidates were parsing that sucker to death, trying to figure out. And we've got some really smart forensic analysts looking at it. And right now, and I'm confident in what the one individual's found, our revenue will probably be around 4.5 million base. And of course, we don't see any of it until later in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what our expenses are going to be.
And you have to be able to operate. Yeah.
And we have to be able to operate.
Yeah.
So over the next 2.5 months, 3 months, eventually the 12 will agree, hopefully, that we're going to reach out and get these proposals so that we'll begin to get some hard numbers so we can begin to put together a budget. And we will, because I'm a glass half full guy, so I know we will.
Yeah.
We're wise enough to realize, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for the other 11. I firmly believe that, and I don't have any negative history with the county.
Yeah.
Some do.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
Yes.
So I'm just going to state that for the record.
Yeah.
I'm Don Hickman, retired colonel who wants to make this thing work. I and others, I'm sure, will reach out to the county and to the professional staff and to the commissioners and say, look, it's in all of our best interest to make this thing happen.
Right.
And it makes sense to me, at least one of the proposals we'll get is from the county for all the services or almost all the services they're currently doing.
Yeah.
Because we've got enough going on that why risk these essential services? Because Whitney wants her street plowed.
Yeah.
You might just like to use your snow machine on it.
Yeah.
So
tracks.
I'm a war planner, for crying
Yeah.
out loud. My
Right.
first assignment in the Pentagon was 2003. It was including 9/11. I'm a
Yeah.
freaking war planner.
Yeah.
So you plan for all the contingencies and you reduce your risk. So I think, I'm sure we'll get proposals from the county and we'll get proposals from others, and we'll begin to understand the cost. The cost of roads is a huge unknown to us. The study, I'm told, assumed I've learned a new term here, road miles. So things are calculated on road miles. So there's about 100 miles of roads in our valley, and the cost per road mile in the lower valley, we're talking far west and upper, is about $1,000 a mile, and out where we live is somewhere between $6,000 and $7,000. They used an average, I'm told, of about $3,000 in the study. So right there is a huge delta on the expense, and most of our cost is what?
Road.
Snow
Yeah.
plowing the roads.
Yeah.
Because it snows where we live.
Right.
Yes.
It doesn't. It snows down here, but it doesn't stay. So
Right.
I don't remember what the original question was, but there's this disconnect that we're going to have to deal with between revenue, which we won't see. We'll begin seeing some of it if we do all the right steps over the next 3 months. Starting February or March, we'll start to see some trickle in. And then we'll normalize within 1 or 2 years when the dust settles. And we will have paid back the short-term notes that we're going to have to get literally just to turn the lights on.
Yeah.
And sometime over the next 2 months, we'll have really solid proposals so we can make decisions on costs. So ask me the hard question. You haven't asked it yet. That's the next one. Ask it.
What's it? Short-term
Taxes.
rentals
Taxes.
or taxes? Yeah.
How are you going to pay for it, Don?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Or are homeowners' taxes going to go up?
That is the. What are you going to say, politician?
$1,000,000
right?
question.
That's the $1,000,000 question. So and I don't want to geek out with you guys too much, but the biggest source of revenue we're going to have is sales taxes. It's going to be plus or minus $2 million of the 4.5 or 5. The next biggest is what are called B and C monies, which are our state gasoline taxes. So based on road miles, we'll get a number. We have no control over that. We have a small control over sales tax. Half of sales tax is population, half of it is the actual generation of the sales tax in our retail places.
Yeah.
So you go to Mountain Moose or Valley Market, you're making money.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of business out there,
No,
right?
we don't.
So a way to increase revenue is to increase business.
Right.
So go. The next biggest is property tax. So if you look at your property tax assessment, which we all got about a month ago, way down in the lower third is something called Unicorp, unincorporated county tax.
Yeah.
And its mill rate is 0.000159 proposed. That is the tax that the county collects right now to pay for stuff out there.
Yeah.
That is the item that will become the city's tax. It's estimated that it'll be about $480,000 revenue based on the assessed value, $2.6 billion worth of assessed value out in the valley. So, Don, are you going to raise that?
So, Don, are you going to raise
There
it?
you go. I'm giving you a question to ask me, Peyton. In a fact of me that most citizens don't know is I am Ogden Valley's only Dave Ramsey trained financial coach.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you've heard of Dave Ramsey, he's well-known financial guru.
Yeah.
And his business model is built around
No debt.
personal finance and no debt except for mortgages, which
Yeah.
is your guys' business. And the point of it is live within your means. So
Yeah.
as I am fundamentally wired, and I will be on city council to assure that we're getting the best value in those contract proposals, figure out what the right price is, add it all up, and then whatever that number is, if we're not getting enough from sales and from roads and from the other nitnoid stuff, we're going to have to adjust that up
Yeah.
from 0.00159. There's no other way to do
Right.
it.
Yeah.
So I will not promise to anybody that I won't raise taxes.
Yeah.
Now, now that I'm a politician, I can parse words. Well, it wouldn't be a raise because we don't have a city yet. It'll be a first ever city tax, right?
That's right.
But I will never, ever lie to anybody. As a dually cadet at the Air Force Academy in '83, I swore that I will not lie, steal, or cheat, nor tolerate those who do. And I've lived by that code for 42 years now.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to look you in the face, Whitney, and say, I can't promise that I would not vote to raise taxes. The first thing I will do is try to get the best value for all
Across
those
the
things
board,
we
yeah.
have to do. But at some point, we have to, by law, provide the service.
From what I understand, as we've incorporated, and once we're a new city, we'll be able to negotiate with the county on some of those other tax amenities or services that we see on our tax bill, right? So there's
Give me an example.
mosquito abatement, for example, that's on there.
Yeah, one of the things we're responsible for is weed and insects.
Right.
So it'll be a city responsibility.
Yeah.
So we
But-
could contract with them to do
Yeah.
it for us.
But from my understanding, I think we have been paying for a lot of other things that's happening more on this side of the mountain. We're in Ogden right now versus on the Eden side, right? Is that correct?
Well, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors on that.
Okay.
And I'm not the one to clarify all that.
Yeah.
So whether or not I could pull out my tax thing and we could look at whether or not that weed and mosquito
Yeah.
thing is something that the city could keep internally. I don't
Right,
know. I
right.
suspect the mosquito part goes to the Weber Morgan Health Department.
Yeah.
And they probably use that to spray,
To spray
everywhere
areas, yeah.
in Weber,
Yeah.
including Ogden City.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
My understanding, and I will be the first to admit when I'm wrong on something, my understanding is the one thing that we control or will control is what is now known as unincorporated. It'll be whatever we call
Yeah.
ourselves, Ogden Valley City Tax.
And we got to make sure we operate off of that. We have to have enough money to more than enough in our expenses.
Gage for Jim Harvey and oh my gosh, I forgot her name. Carol, the other councilwoman.
Yeah.
I'm so embarrassed. They're going to toss us the keys. And I go, good luck, kids.
Yeah.
And fortunately, the biggest revenue base is sales tax, the B&C road tax, and then is property taxes.
Yeah.
But the one thing, we control some other stuff. There's an energy-related tax. We can add 1% on our electrical bills and our natural gas bills, and we can make some money there. We can tinker on the edges. But I try to remind citizens and my colleagues, we got to keep it the macro. When you're talking $2 million, $30,000 doesn't matter. And you guys know this in your business.
Yeah.
You know, when you're trying to sell a house, you remind buyers that, you know, you can put a new fridge in. Don't lose a deal over a fridge.
Yeah. Stepping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, my friend.
So thoughts on short-term rentals?
Oh my gosh. Are you guys a rental agency? Do you have a conflict here?
No.
No, but some of our clients purchase up there with
Thinking,
that.
right?
Yep, with that in mind,
Right.
especially with the Olympics coming and everything.
Right. So
It's on their mind.
my policy position right now, and I'll stick by it, is there's some number that have been approved by the process that Weber County put in place whenever that was, 3-4 years ago, and it's in the hundreds. I don't remember the number off the top of my head. What we need to do is actually know how many we have.
Yeah.
So we need to baseline it.
Yeah.
Who are you? Are you following the laws? Are you following the rules? And then have a process in place for permitting them and controlling them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think we need to actually go to Airbnb and VRBO and everywhere else and see who's cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in my district, which is District 5, has come to me and said, I want to do short-term rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's come to me and said, I refuse to allow short-term rentals in District 5.
Yeah.
District 5, to my understanding, has no legally by the county approved short-term rental zoned properties. They're almost all of them are over in Wolf
our
Creek and
district.
Eden, in your
In
district.
District
right?
3.
Same.
Yep.
So from a practical perspective, before we do anything, I think we just need to baseline. Where are we?
Yeah.
As a matter of where should we go? People come to our valley for a reason.
We live in a vacation spot.
We live in God's country.
Yeah.
We've got the Olympics coming in 2034. We've got Powder Mountain, which is true. I mean, Snow Basin is the #1 ski resort in North America 2 years in a row, and Powder Mountain is pretty darn good too. So people come there for a reason. And we can make money off of short-term rentals. We can throw out, a transient tax on it, make some. So we're going to have to figure out what the right number is.
A happy medium.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard 15% of the rooftops, but then how do you control that? A lottery?
It could be permits or I don't
Yeah.
know.
So,
Applications.
but they have a place,
Yeah.
and the naysayers, I say to the naysayers, well, in 8 years, you're gonna want to make 3 years worth of mortgage in 3 weeks, aren't you?
Right.
So you're gonna want them then,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're gonna need to come
Yeah.
up with something on
Yeah.
this. This one to me begs a conversation with the citizens. What do you guys
For
want
sure.
to do?
Yeah. Get some votes and everything like that.
Yeah.
How about infrastructure? We got water, sewer. There's. What are your thoughts on all that?
Water's a hot topic too,
Yeah.
as you're aware.
So I posted on water today on Facebook. What about infrastructure? So ask me the question.
Well,
again.
it's just I just sold a lot recently up in Eden Liberty area that it's a residential developed lot in a community that has houses going up all around it, and originally it was sold by the developer as a residential lot, but there's not water available to connect, so they couldn't build on it.
Right.
And it's just been like a pain point. And I've had multiple clients over the years trying to build in different areas, and there's multiple lots within the valley that either the fees aren't paid or they can't get the fees even to pay them, even if they wanted to. It's just it's an issue, and then we keep bringing in more development.
Right. There's a lot of holes in the ground.
Yeah.
The fact I had Rex Mumford is the chair of the board of Huntsville Irrigation Company, and I own shares in Huntsville Irrigation. And he and I spent a good 2 hours yesterday talking about water. There's a lot of holes in the ground.
Yeah.
We live in District 5.
Yeah.
We got pretty darn good water
Yeah,
over in South Fork, right?
You really
Right.
do.
We
yeah,
do.
Yeah.
Folks over in Eden, not so good.
Pretty dry.
It's pretty dry.
Yeah.
And the fact is the city does not control water.
Right.
Who controls water? They're all
They're
all
all
paper
private.
water
Private.
rights,
Yeah.
controlled by the state engineer
Yeah.
and to a lesser extent Weber Basin Water. So we've got to have a conversation, but that's not the right word. We've got to create an environment where the city government, Weber Basin Water, and the water companies are all talking so that we agree that this is the state of water in our valley.
Yeah.
I think there would be utility in a new third-party water study, soup to nuts in the hydrology, with bounded, better estimates on future snowpacks, so that we really understand to the best of science what we're going to get. The 2023 study was commissioned by Weber Basin Water, and I have no reason to believe that they had a agenda to do, but they're Weber Basin Water, who is the one who owns the paper water rights. So we ought to get a new study so that we understand what we have, so that future property buyers and real estate agents can say, look, you can own that ground, but there may very well not be any water coming out of it. And until and unless the citizens decide that they want to fund a water treatment plant sucking water out of Pineview, you got sagebrush.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
And I guess you could line it up so it coincides with the overall general plan and ordinances within the city. So we're like, okay, this is the planned growth for the valley where we're controlling it and stuff like that, and make sure we have the right resources and water to sustain the development.
Water will be the forcing function of everything. And we all know that.
Yeah.
I grew up in the West. I don't know where you guys, but it is.
Yeah.
And they're paper water rights. I say that for a reason. We don't own water. We own paper. We're sucking water out of the ground that the state allows us to, or out of South Fork. So at some point, we must better understand the reality of what we're facing.
No,
and I know that sounds amorphous, but there's no easy answer to this one.
Right. There isn't.
You guys can sell property left and right, and you can show that, you're approved to drill a well. There may not be water under that. Good luck.
Yeah. That is a concern.
Yeah. So
every time we're dealing with drilling wells and stuff like that, it's always hard.
Yeah.
Unless they have water guaranteed through one of the water companies, it's super hard.
And I think that something like that may sound draconian, but perhaps new development should be contingent on proof of water.
Yeah.
Unless you can show there is provable water on a new well or through a water company, we won't approve a permit to build. I think we need to seriously look at that.
Yeah.
Because what's the other option? Fighting
Right.
over water that doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, and we don't know exactly where the baseline is or where we're at exactly.
I submit we don't.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, I think a lot of residents want to have their voices heard. We've talked about some vocal members of the community, and also those who are just like unsure, kind of like myself. I'm not very vocal in my stances or whatnot, but I would love to know how we can make our voices heard. What's your plan moving forward? How the city residents will be able to be heard on their perspectives and what they want to see for our city as well?
That's a great question. So between now and the election, I'm 100% available. Anybody can get a hold of me through my website. They can call me, they can text me, they can message me on Facebook. I'm doing a whole bunch of meet and greets, and period. Come talk to me. The best way, if you want to have a one-on-one with me, is get on my website and say, I want to meet you.
Yeah.
I think where you were going with the question, Whitney, is, okay, now you're a city council person. How are you going to keep the citizens informed?
Yeah.
And I plan on creating a meet with Don, some mechanism once a month probably, where I make myself available at wherever, the library or wherever we can legally do this stuff, and make myself available to the citizens to come and complain, come and give me ideas. I think surveys are useful, either formally through the city government or informally through me as a city council person, using SurveyMonkey or whatever. But okay, here's what's going on. What do y'all think? Because in reality, most of the citizens aren't involved. And those who become involved are the voices that are heard. And I desperately want to find ways to reach into those who are the silent majority, who have things that they want to happen, who aren't talking. So I've got a network. My network of people who are supporting me is every political persuasion, every religion, all parts of District 5. And so this set of people who are supporting me will remain there as people that I'm going to reach out and say, hey, What are you guys thinking? What are you hearing? What's going on at the ward parties? What are you hearing going on up on the slopes? That's how I'm going to do it.
How can somebody stay informed and be involved during the next 60 days?
You guys have really got to become informed and involved. So
Yeah.
for me as a candidate, the best way is to follow me on my Facebook.
Okay.
And or go to my website. My website is donhickmandistrict5.com.
We can link that in
You
the
guys
page here.
thank you. And my Facebook page, I can give you guys that.
Perfect.
That's how to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
As general citizens, there's going to be a candidate forum on the 15th of October at the library, sort of like there was back in early July.
Yeah.
And others may be doing things I don't know.
Yeah.
I encourage you to reach out to your candidates. So reach out to
Mm-hmm.
the 2 mayor candidates and reach out to, in your case, the District 3 candidates and say, hey, we got questions, talk to us.
Right. Let's wrap this up. So one question. Let's say there was one billboard in the valley. What would you put on it?
I've been chewing on that one, Peyton, for days going, I'm like, is it one of those flashy digital ones? How's it going to change? Just one billboard.
Just one billboard.
So where my head is right now is Ogden Valley, next line, please love it like we do.
I like that.
Ogden Valley, please love it like we do.
Yeah.
And I believe that speaks to everybody. Those of us who lives there, those of us who come out and recreate, and it asks people, hey, this is a pretty darn cool place. Let's love this place. And when you love something, you don't set out to destroy it. You don't set out to soil it. You shouldn't set out to change something that you love.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I am. I think that would be a good one to have.
I really like that. That's really good. Why, and you've said this a few times, but I think summarize, why do you think you're the right person for this job?
I really think that this first city council demands people who have the talent, the temperament, and the time to dedicate to get it right. Future city councils are going to have it easy. They're going to show up. There's going to be agenda. There's going to be everything in place. This is going to be easy. They'll eat bonbons and drink Diet Coke.
Yeah, you'll have a building to go to.
You'll have a building. You'll have everything. The first one demands 6 people who have the talent, and I mean the skills and the experience, the temperament to work with other people, to do the hard negotiations, to bend where they need to not get mad, and the time. It's going to take 20 or 30 hours a week for quite a while to get this done. Stacy and I believe that I have the time. I believe my resume makes clear that I certainly have the talent, and I've got the temperament. I've been on boards of directors. As a colonel in the Pentagon, you're on these councils of colonels with the Army, the Navy. I was Air Force, Marines, and it's knockdown, drag out. But at the end of the day, okay, here's what we're going to do. And if you drink beer, you go get a beer. If you don't drink beer, you get a Diet Coke. That's how you get things done.
Well, is there anything we didn't ask you that you would like to share with the listeners?
I don't think there's anything that you didn't ask me, but I've served my entire professional life. I went to the Air Force Academy at 18 years old, graduated as cadet, became a second lieutenant, did 25 years. And after that, like I mentioned earlier, I went into the nonprofit world and business so that I could support my family. And just the opportunity to declare as a candidate and participate in this whole process truly is humbling. It's an honor. And I've been so amazed by the support of the people of Ogden Valley and District 5 over the last 2.5 months.
Well, and thank you for your time, because I know it's taking away from your family, your hobbies, your wife. Like it's not it's a sacrifice for sure to step into this battle ring and try to. It is a war zone.
The others can speak for themselves, but I'm like, holy cow!
Yeah.
It's easy. You just put some campaign signs out, right?
Yeah, and then you get on Facebook, and like Whitney was mentioning the other day, she's like, "Do you realize what you're doing?" And I'm like, I don't get on like Ogden Valley Moms or do any of that stuff really, but like there's a lot of just discussion and there's a lot happening here, and I agree with you. Like this is kind of you're laying the foundation for what is the future Valley, which is where like I'd love if my kids could grow up and enjoy the same lifestyle that I'm having right now. So
I think that's what this is really about. The animating issue was about development,
Yeah.
but now it needs to be about what do we want this valley to be.
yeah,
And in the short term, we got to make sure there's snow plows and all that stuff. In
Yeah.
the longer term, we've got to do the hard work to create the thing we want.
yeah.
So I look forward to your kids having some semblance of it. I hope my family does. I hope yours does. And I hope to see you guys at Valley Market now that I've met you in person. And come on over to District 5.
No, I love it.
When you guys are showing a property out there, get a hold of me and I'll meet you in person. I walk with Candy Facer every day. Do you know Candy Facer?
don't know.
Candy
Candy.
was one of our
One
second
of
grade
your
teachers.
So Candy is one of my very good friends.
Good.
And she and I, we almost committed to walking every mile of District 5. But
wow.
we decided, look, that might be physically possible.
Big
but
stretch.
you'll see it on Facebook soon. We're going to invite the people of District 5 to walk with us as
That's
we
so
go
cool.
all over and explore District 5.
And just chat, that's a great way for
The-
people to,
The number of people I have met walking
yeah,
is amazing.
that's cool.
The number of people at the farmers market at the monastery
Yeah.
is amazing. They just people want to talk when you're
Yeah.
out for a walk.
Boots on the ground. And that's the hardest part. Like it's just getting out and getting involved, really.
It really is. And guess what? Door knocking is a thing of the past. Apparently, nobody answers their door anymore.
Right,
I
yeah.
tell you what, they're like, oh, there's some weirdo out there. I'm not going to talk to him.
Well, it sounds like you are definitely a guy who enjoys a challenge. So
Yeah, I really appreciate your time, Peyton, and your time, Whitney,
No.
and your time as well, Cameron. Lady. If you have any follow-on questions, feel free to zap them at me.
I think that's it. We'll link all your contact info in here, and people can reach out to you, get on your Facebook page, and hopefully get involved. So thanks
Really
for hopping
appreciate
on.
it.